Can we find everybody not guilty if we can leave right away? Judge Caprio asked. All right, he continued. This woman was charged with improper display of plates, one of those offenses where the act is intentional and the perpetrator knows it's wrong, yet does it anyway. Well, here's your excuse, Judge Caprio said. Did you have only one plate on the car? Yes, she admitted. Why? My husband purchased a new car and put one plate on one car and one on the other to drive them home, she explained. That's exactly what you're not supposed to do, the judge said. I didn't know that. I'm sorry. I wasn't aware, she stammered. He wasn't aware either, she added, trying to explain. Judge Caprio noted that even if she claimed ignorance, the car was in her name. She was responsible. He also reminded her about insurance. Driving two cars with one registration could leave one or both cars uninsured. Well, we just bought it, she said. How long had you been driving uninsured? He asked. That one time, she said. Judge Caprio shook his head. No one's going to believe that. The chances are just too slim. Inspector Quinn was called. Miss Constant had one plate on each car. Her husband did this. We don't live in a storybook world. Her husband was driving, but because the car is in her name, she has to pay the fine. It's $85. I think you want to tell your husband he owes you $85? Judge Caprio asked. I tried, she replied. All right, it's $85, he said firmly. And next, an immigrant woman who didn't speak English was summoned with her translator for illegal parking. She was charged with parking on the sidewalk. Inspector Quinn, she wasn't parked on the sidewalk, the judge clarified. No, we don't need the translator here. This is an easy case, Quinn said. Judge Caprio lightened the air in the courtroom. The translator was kind of a witness to it all, he said. She can explain the details. According to the translator, the car was temporarily blocking the woman's driveway because children were playing outside. The police arrived shortly after, and when she tried to move the car, the officer told her not to, and issued a ticket. Judge Caprio explained. The portion of the driveway nearest the street is considered a sidewalk. Was it blocked? No, the translator insisted. So, she wasn't blocking the sidewalk at all. Judge Caprio confirmed. The woman had not threatened the officer and remained silent. Judge Caprio offered advice. I'm going to give you a break on this. But if anyone parks on your sidewalk again, make sure you don't embarrass, insult, or threaten the parking enforcement officer. Understood? Yes, sir, the woman replied. The parking enforcement officer, you hear me, Inspector Quinn? Judge Caprio asked. What do you think about this? He continued. Do you think she threatened him? Inspector Quinn replied. I would definitely be intimidated if she came in that way, but at first, you sort of get a chip on your shoulder. You know, that chip on your shoulder? Okay, Judge Caprio said. Now, if you're as big as Inspector Quinn, maybe you could have a chip on your shoulder, but you better be careful. All right. Thank you. The woman listened carefully and took the advice well. A woman was summoned to court for a violation. The vehicle was in her name, but it turned out her husband had been driving it. Good morning, Your Honor, she said. Morning, Judge Caprio replied. This is my wonderful husband, she introduced. I got the ticket, he was driving my car. I'm not guilty. Oh, he is? Judge Caprio asked. Let me explain what happened, she said. I got the ticket in the mail. I was surprised and asked my husband what it was, but he didn't want to make a big deal, so he asked me to pay for it. I said, you went through a yellow light? He said, yeah. I said, I'm not paying it, we're going to fight this. She added, our son was in the hospital at the time. I was ready to fight it in court, but when I saw the video, I realized my husband went through a red light, not a yellow one. So, the first thing you did was throw him under the bus? Judge Caprio asked. I'm not throwing myself under, she said defensively. You think he's really guilty, huh? When I looked at that video, if I were a policeman, I would say he's guilty, she admitted. It me too, Judge Caprio said. She still seemed confused, so the judge explained again. Her husband had crossed the red light by 0.3 of a second. It wasn't much to her, but it was enough to violate the law. Do you go through this every day? He asked. Yes, Your Honor. We've been happily married for 43 years. Yes, dear, Judge Caprio acknowledged, confirming the length of their marriage. The couple's dynamic, a quiet, impatient husband and an expressive, outspoken wife, was clear. It was kind of beautiful, and a little scary. Hey, you went through a red light. Pay the fine. What do you do? Judge Caprio asked. I'll give him the benefit of the doubt, because it's my husband. He has to take me to dinner, she said with a smile. Oh, that's the deal, the judge replied. Judge Caprio reviewed the husband's history, over 25 parking tickets in previous years, with many promises to pay $100 a week that he never kept. The woman had paid $300 on a $1,100 balance, leaving a substantial unpaid portion. He had even changed his registration to avoid detection, which cost him money he could have used to pay his tickets. "What do you want to tell me about this?" the judge asked. "I've been out of work for the last 6 months," she explained. Judge Caprio acknowledged her situation but noted, even if some tickets are old, the pattern shows a complete disregard for the law. He has so many unpaid tickets, and now he's trying to avoid new ones with a new registration. Some people never learn. The car is now towed, Judge Caprio added. That means storage fees every day, around $30 per day, plus the boot fee and interest. Even if he had paid the tickets, that doesn't guarantee he wouldn't make the same mistakes again. Change isn't in his dictionary right now. You've shown complete and total disregard for the court. Judge Caprio's patience was evident, but there was also a line: the man had to pay the money he owed. Judge Caprio continued, even if he had paid the tickets, that doesn't guarantee he won't make the same mistakes again. Change isn't really in his dictionary, and you haven't shown much effort here. Now, the new tickets come with a $100 boot fee and $160 in other fines. That's $260. Add that to the $790 balance from previous tickets, and you're back up to $1,050. Even when being firm, Judge Caprio remained fair. "I am going to try to reduce the fines to what you can reasonably afford. But listen to me, if you don't pay and you ever come back, I'll remove none of the penalties I've waived today. I really don't want to persecute you, but I also don't want you to insult the court. Understand?" "Thank you, Judge," she said. "I know you've been knocked down," the judge added. "It's no sin to get knocked down. But it is a sin not to get back up. So get back up." The woman, Mary, had come to court unaware of the full extent of her violations. Looking at the documents, she was surprised herself. At Allens Avenue and Terminal Street, she had 3 red light violations. Judge Caprio asked, "Do you want to review these?" "I don't need to," she said. "Everyone else was guilty. I know I am. I don't want to see the evidence." "That's one way to be honest," the judge replied with a smile. Still, the court reviewed the videos for accuracy. At 7:16, she had crossed the line on a yellow light. At 1:46, she passed the first stop line. After reviewing, Judge Caprio dismissed the first 2 violations. For the third violation at 6:36, the light was red, and she went right through it. After reviewing, Judge Caprio assessed a total fine of $170. "You need time to pay it?" he asked. "Yes, I do," she replied. "How much time?" "I don't know, maybe a month." "Can you pay any today?" "No, I didn't plan to. I don't have it." Judge Caprio, showing fairness, checked everything again and reduced the fine to $85. "Imagine if we hadn't reviewed the videos the way you requested. Your fine could have been triple that." He turned to her and asked again, "When you first came here, I asked if you wanted to see the evidence. You said no. Do you want to see it now?" "Yes, from now on I would want to see everything," she admitted. "Good," Judge Caprio said. "I appreciate it. Thank you, and good luck." Mary had taken a chance parking her car, and 30 minutes later, she saw a ticket. Judge Caprio explained, "These are city ordinances." "I know you're from Rayab?" "Yes," she said. "Well, here in Providence, it's important to know the local rules." "Do you have curb cuts in Rayab?" "No, we don't have curbs. No sidewalks either." "That's understandable," the judge said. "You're not used to Providence roads, so it makes sense that you got a ticket for parking the way you normally would back home. But here, the rules are different. You need to follow them to avoid fines." "Do you have parking regulations in Rayab?" "Not that I'm aware of," she replied. "Right. So it's easy to be surprised here. In Rhode Island, the city regulations are strict. Taxes may be lower there, but here the rules are enforced strictly." "All right, Mary, I'm going to dismiss this ticket. But remember the future, learn the rules before you park here again."